Welcome to the first episode of Season 2 of Maker Conversations. I'm your host, Tiff Marchand from NIGHTCARVER Designs. And today on the show, we have two awesome people that I got to meet for the first time in person at Workbench. And we're all just really passionate about the amount of brainstorming that you can get done there. So you'll hear us talking about Workbench a lot, but it's a ton of fun and educational, so why not? I want to thank the sponsor of the episode, Sabertooth Power Carving. They make the most amazing carbide burrs for power carving, so if you haven't tried them, check them out. It's definitely going to make your work faster and just way more enjoyable. All right, let's get into this episode.
Are you on site working on something right now?
Nah.
Are you in your shop? Oh, okay. I didn't know.
In the kitchen.
Oh, good. I was like, did we catch him in action?
No.
Well, I'll let you get set up.
And he has a great project he has going on right now.
Ooh.
The master bedroom remodel.
Oh,
That's fun.
yeah.
Is it just starting, or are you almost done with it?
I'm like in the middle, I guess you
Okay.
kind of call that, in that limbo time frame where you feel like you got something done, but you feel like you still got a long ways to go.
Yep. It's so you start seeing the details, right? Like, okay, I've got this here, that, but now I got to go get this. Like, it just builds up.
I've done all of the stuff you're never going to see.
Yes.
Pretty much right now.
That takes so much longer. Oh, I don't know. Trim work. That's
the hard part, actually. The framing and coming up with a plan.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a lot more thinking than it is actual doing. You got to make sure you didn't forget something, put something in the right place, whole nine. It's just like, then you got to make sure that everything is going to be symmetrical. Everything that you thought that you wanted, you're going to still be able to do, type of deal. So it's a lot.
And then I'm sure the addition of somebody's house not being level and all that works into it once you get to the actual site.
Yeah, this is my house, and nothing's level. Nothing's right. I got I had to replace all the subfloors, level all of those out. I mean, it's been pretty much start from scratch. Trying to
So,
get
question, Nolan, how do you balance having your business and having home projects at the same time? It's like a juggling act, I assume.
Yeah, so it is a juggling act, and for this particular one, because it was so big, my wife basically hired me. So she was like, "How much are your bills, and how can I get you to take a break and work on this type of deal?" So that's kind of what it was. It's like we basically kind of dipped into our savings to kind of cover some of our
I understand.
my time frame or whatever type of deal. But then that time frame is ending, and I'm trying to get back into work. So it's like I'm going to be doing double duty, where work during the day and work at night type of situation. Kind of.
I know all about that.
Before I went full time, but now it's
that's how I am now.
Yeah, so
it's really hard though.
The only difference is that back when I was working the job and coming and doing woodworking on the side, it was getting off work and going and doing something I wanted to do. Now I'm doing something I want to do in the daytime and going and doing something I really don't feel like doing that much. So it's like
okay.
The home project is I guess secondary to woodworking. I mean, it has a lot of the same features into it, but it's not as
it's definitely different.
That's not as rewarding, I guess you would say.
Yeah,
it will be in the end. In the end,
I was gonna say, in the end, it's gonna be super rewarding.
Yeah.
It's a struggle to make that balance, because when you're done with work, like doing what you want to do, you do want to kind of have like a little bit of family time. And then, like, at least for me, I get like the guilt too if I don't go up there and spend a little time. I'm like, the guilt, right? So you gotta go and you gotta do like your family time, and then it's like, okay, now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna do something else. But when it's home projects, and sometimes you need the daylight too for some things, like you have to really weave that into it. Like it's a challenge, at least what I'm noticing, because I just went full time in the summer. So I was used to doing, thank you. I was just in doing what Mark's doing, the double life, of doing a desk job during the day and then going and working with my hands at night. So I get both
All my
sides of
friends
this.
are
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It takes a while to leave your day job, and you don't not, if that's your goal. It's not everybody's goal. It's
Right.
nice to have reliable money too,
Yeah. And I was about to say that too, because I was like, I work 10 times harder now than I did at my desk job. Like my brain never turns off anymore. So like, even if I go take vacation, I'm sitting there plotting and planning on what I got to do when I get back. What are the goals for the year? What do I want to accomplish? What are some things I want to do to kind of, I guess, get myself out of, being exhausted type of situations. Because like everything when you become full time becomes on you, your ability to change your circumstances is all on you. And is the only thing's holding you back is you. And it's like, but the thing holding you back is you because you are exhausted. So it's like you got to be able to come up for a breath of air just to get a good thought together. Like, how am I going to change being exhausted all the time?
One thing I say, I see you hiring an employee. So no, seriously, I see that your business.
I thought you were talking about my CNC. No, I'm not hiring an employee. The only way I'm going to be able to have to hire an employee is if I have to move off of my property. But in my city, I can't hire an employee on my personal property. So
Gotcha.
I have to get a contract for enough business to justify going and getting a commercial building and hiring somebody.
No,
so right now,
that's interesting. I never even thought about that.
Spending more time trying to invest in equipment that will be that second hand. So like the CNC is the first phase of the plan, but there are other machines that I want to get that will streamline my processes as well.
So what's your next tool that you want on your list? Bam, what is it?
Edge bander. Automatic
Which
edge
one?
bander.
I just saw a fancy one too.
If you've seen the one that Justin at Rusted Grain has, that would be the ideal size and machine, because his is small enough to fit in a small shop, but it only runs on single phase 230, 240 volt power. So that would be the ideal thing. Those bigger ones, even some of the small ones that are the same size, they take up so much power and have so many different motors on it that it's not really feasible for my shop.
Gotcha.
How big is your shop? Because you've got some big tools.
Mine is 24 by 40. Nice. And it seems small because of the big tools that are in there.
I'm sure.
I'm looking at actually getting rid of some of the bigger tools and switching them out with the edge bander. And I would like to have a permanent paint booth versus what I'm doing now, which is setting up a temporary thing every time I got to paint something.
I'm in a 20 by 30. I thought yours was a lot bigger.
Probably again because of the size of the tools. It's deceiving when you're seeing like something that big.
It's very deceiving. It's like I have half of a shop that stays stagnant 90% of the time. Yeah. If you think about it, my drum sander and my clamp rack rarely get used.
Is that what you were pondering changing out? Because that drum sander is a giant. But
yeah, you need to get rid of that clamp rack.
I currently have both of them for sale on Facebook right now.
Okay.
I've got some interest in the drum sander. I haven't really gotten much interest in the clamp rack. The clamp rack it's going to be for a special person or a larger shop environment, because it came out of a large cabinet shop that just went out of business or whatever. So, and while I can use it for cabinetry, it's not efficient for what I'm doing. Like I can use it for a lot of doors and stuff like that, door fronts and drawer fronts, but for the amount of space that it's using up, I would be better off outsourcing the doors and drawer fronts and streamlining the boxes to where I can get a closet or a full kitchen done in say a week and a half, and just have everything, order. I've ordered a couple of doors recently, and they came in 3 days and were perfect.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I just picked a random company. I didn't do any research or anything like that. So the company was in California. So for them to get it to me in 3 days, I was like,
You've got a nice inventory.
well, it's all custom because it wasn't like I put in it wasn't like I put in a standard size. I was like 17 and 7/8, and it was like 17 and 7/8, like right on the dot. Like, I said, okay.
You're like, save this company, favorite.
Yep.
Well, that's kind of Mark, what you were hinting at though, with him hiring an employee. Instead of doing that, you're learning ways to make it more efficient for you, and you're learning how to outsource. That's smart. Makes your shop become a much larger shop and take on more business if you're able to find other ways to get that. That's really cool.
The one thing we gotta remember, especially us as being, hobbyists going to full time, and content creators and being on Instagram, is sometimes you have to take out all of the stuff that you can do, and let somebody who's geared for it better do it for you if you're looking to grow a business. If you're looking to just be on Instagram and grow content, then you want to do all the stuff so you can show it. But if you want to go support your family and make a livelihood off of it, you got to figure out what somebody else is better at that can help you out, help you make more money, and help you keep doing what you're strong at. And if somebody like Dovetail Drawers, or somebody who has CNC operated machines that can scan a piece of wood, find a knot in it, cut it out of it, and give you a perfect thing, and have you all your stuff to your door in like a week or two time, it's a no-brainer. Like, if you get somebody to order this custom kitchen from you, and you can get a whole custom kitchen done in, say, 2-3 weeks time, that allows you to go do another one right after that. And the profit margins on doing a kitchen versus doing, say, a table or maybe a small built-in is probably 4 or 5 times the amount you would actually be able to make. So it really all depends on what you want as a
and what your goal is. Because my goal is kind of the opposite in a sense.
Right.
I'm not in a sense wanting to outsource, because people who get this stuff from me typically want it because I made everything from the top up, and it's almost like I'm not doing it to feed my family.
Right.
I'm doing it because it's extra money. I'm doing it because it's fun.
What you like doing, what you enjoy.
Yeah.
And I love that, though. This is great to have this in the same podcast, because there's that two groups of people, right? There's way more, but there's the ones that want to go full time. Then there's the ones that, want to enjoy this. And like you said, want to do the content, you want to build it. It's extra money and it's fun for you. And I love that we're kind of all here together like that.
The best part about doing it the way Mark is doing it and the way I was doing it before is you get to explore and do your hobby on somebody else's dime.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you set your own schedule and they agree to it. So basically, if there's any stress on you, it was because either you set a too tight of a deadline, or maybe something like a family emergency or something like that got in the way of, which might create a little bit of pressure. But for the most part, like, when you're in control of it and that's your intention, is like, hey, look, I'm not in this for, giving you a speedy job. I'm gonna let you know up front. I'm gonna give you a job. It's gonna be immaculate. It's gonna be almost perfect, but it may take more time than to say the guy down the street who is pumping.
This is what they're doing
every single day, type of deal.
Yeah. Because that's where my schedule is. I'm on a tight schedule. I work my 9 to 5 during the day, which is very flexible because I work from home. So on my lunch break, I'm still able to come in the shop, tinker a little bit, and then go back to work. And then after that, I'm able to come in here, and then I'm able to get my stuff done. So it's a little different. And then my job also gives me the leisure to take my time, do something during the day, get things done.
Mark, what is your day job?
I am a computer engineer for the stock market. So
cool.
I make the applications that handle stock trades.
Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, I would probably hate it with what you have to do. Like, I'm sure it's just a lot of. What are you
The
doing?
one
Like
thing
a lot of
I used to do a
data
lot of
entry,
coding.
Okay, cool.
I
Yeah.
don't do much coding anymore.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking.
So
You're just
now
typing away.
That's part of the reason why I don't think I can see myself leaving my main job and taking on Mark the Builder full time, because they push work-life balance.
That's great. Oh, that's great.
I'm able to pick my kids up from school every day, and I have a lot of freedom, I enjoy it too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I was to do woodworking full time, I would lose my passion for it, and I don't want to lose my passion for
it.
Mm-hmm. There are days where I'm just like, I don't feel like it.
Yeah, and I have those days also.
Yeah, as much as I love it, it'd be days in there I know I have to go in there to meet a schedule or timeline, or to get some money in the household type of deal, and it's like,
yeah,
especially when it's like the sanding day, or
oh, those are the worst.
Yeah, you gotta start painting or whatever, and then you got like 2 days of prep before you could even spray 5 minutes of spray or whatever. Like,
the satisfying finish.
Yeah, and then you gotta realize you gotta clean the gun out or whatever. So it's like you got 2 hours, 2 days worth of prep work and cleanup, and for 5 minutes or whatever, just to get the perfect finish or whatever. So there are times where I'm like, yeah, I can see what people don't want to do it full time because they can lose their passion for it. But I also remember what type of job I left from.
It's a different thing.
Yeah, so it's like, for me, it's like, nah, I'm grateful.
Was yours not as flexible like that? Like, it sounds like Mark's is very accommodating, that they know how like people have families, and you have to be flexible. Was yours not like that? Was it more rigid?
Yeah, it was more rigid. It was go to work behind a gated facility, and there was no at-home work. You came to work and you worked to a bell. So a bell starts the day, a bell tells you what time to go to lunch, a bell tells you what time to go back to work.
Wow.
A bell tells you what time to get off. If you go outside of those gates at any time, it's like fire and fence. It's like there was no. I mean, it's basically, it was a private company building government assets, pretty much. So
they kept a tight lid on everything, it sounds like.
Yeah, so like my previous job was I worked in what's called a shipyard, and we built nuclear aircraft carriers and submarines for the Navy. And basically it was pretty, rigid, structured type of situation or whatever. And for me, I was doing well there. I was moving up and moving up the management ladder, but the higher I moved up, the more stressful it got, the more the money wasn't worth it. And I was just like, something got changed. And then on top of that, the woodworking thing came into play, whereas when I first was there for like the first, let's say, 10 years, I had never picked up anything woodworking or whatever. I was pretty much strictly metalworking. I was a pipe fitter. So basically I welded and fit pipe and grinded and cut it all day long before I went into the management portion of it or whatnot. And so it was just a different beast. But once I learned about woodworking, it became something fun after my basketball life ended. It was just like something else filled that void for basketball.
That's great.
I was like, ooh. And then I started thinking about, ooh, could this be full time? Could this be an actual thing? And once I fell in love with woodworking, I wasn't in love with my job, but I definitely fell away from it. Like I don't want to do this no more. It became hard to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I have some of those same things where it's like, I love woodworking, and my main job just became because before I started woodworking, I wanted to be a director in my company. I was just trying to move up to being president. I wanted to be everything.
Yeah, that was me too.
Then it was like, I kind of found I kind of found my purpose, and it was like, yeah, I'm here. And then my job pays. They pay really well. So it's like I can't just leave that on the table. So
no, I mean, if they're flexible and they pay well, it sounds like you're in a really good situation. Like that's ideal. And then look at how much fun you were able to completely redo your shop. Take your time, do a really cool floor.
I took my time. Yeah.
You were able to savor it. If you're like making money on this and this is your livelihood, doing that shop, you would have had it done in 3 days. It wouldn't be what you wanted exactly.
Yes.
But it would be done and it'd be a usable shop. Like that's the difference when you're doing it.
My shop is still not done, to be the perfect example. Because I moved in out of my old shop, this shop, and I was just like, all right, I was in there, no installation, no nothing, spraying cabinets and doing whatever. You know, I was going back and forth from both shops or whatever. And I'm still not done putting the shop together the way I wanted to. I haven't finished putting the walls up, hadn't drywall, I haven't finished putting mud on drywall, I hadn't did anything, painted anything, nothing.
My shop is half painted. Where you see most of the filming done is where I try to highlight the area. This room, I redid it in 3 days. I gutted the entire thing and slapped it together. It's not perfect. They're still missing a panel up there that I still have to finish. You know what I mean? There's just like random stuff. But like it needed to be camera ready, you know, I needed somewhere I could film. And I'm like, all right, if you're going to quit your job, you need to make at least one room look really good. So shout out to Wall Control for making this room look real snazzy.
Oh, shout out to Wall Control.
Right?
Always shout out to Wall Control. I don't know. You can see my Wall Control behind me.
I see it.
Yep, I can see my Wall Control too. So yeah, that's but one thing I want to talk about is how Nolan was begged to be introduced to the woodworking community.
Begged.
So I met Nolan on social media. What has it been? 3 years now, Nolan?
It's either 2 or 2.5, I think. Because what was the first Workbench Con was 2021 we went to together, right?
Yeah, and I tried to get you to come the year before that.
No, 2022. It was.
There was no one in 2021, so it'd be 2020.
Right. It's 2022.
Yep.
It's 2022, the first one I went to, and it was right before then that Mark we found each other. I can't remember if he found me or I found him on each other's page or whatever, and we were having conversations, and he was like, "Man, I like what you're doing or whatever, man." You know, and he was like, "You know, you going to Workbench Con?" And I was like, "You know, I've seen it," but I was like, I said, "Nah, man. You know, I've been to conferences all my life, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not for me. I'm just gonna stick to work or whatever." He was like, "Nah, man. I'm telling you, you gotta come." I was like, "I think about it. I think about it." And he was like, he wouldn't let me just ignore him. Like, it was like, "So you coming?"
I love that.
I was like, he was like, "Look, man, let me tell you what it is. You know what I'm saying? What the possibilities are." And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, bet I'll be there." And sure enough, it changed a lot in my life. So like, I mean a lot. Like last year was the busiest year I ever had. I never thought I would be traveling.
You had a crazy year.
Crazy. And it was, I mean, to be honest, if it wasn't for Mark, pushing me to come, I wouldn't have met the people I met. I wouldn't have the relationships I have now. I wouldn't have been able to go to the events or the things that I've been invited to. It's like, I wouldn't have learned the content creator side of everything. I was just on Instagram, just posting my stuff, and I wanted to learn about stuff, but I didn't know how. And Mark was that first person that really was like, "Hey, look, this is how you do it." And then he introduced me to people.
And now, hold up. And now he surpassed me.
Oh my God.
He gets invited to all the cool stuff. And I'm like,
you see this?
I didn't even get invited to that.
And it's like in his backyard. Like
that hurts, man. That hurts.
Yeah, I'm like,
I was literally
it
talking
is what it
to
is.
a few friends about that. It's just like, it's hard not to get caught up in that, like looking at other people's followers that maybe you guys were like at the same level at one time, and then you see like their growth and stuff. It's hard to ignore it, but then you have to realize like it all depends too on what you're doing. Is their content more relatable to what other people would be doing too? Like there's so many factors, and really you're doing it for yourself, right? You know, you're doing your whole thing for you and stuff like that. It just sucks when you see some things fly off, you know, like the silliest things, it gets to you. But
Oh yeah, man, I worked months on projects and thought it was like everything, and it won't get any type of viewership.
Yeah.
And I'll make a video of drilling a screw into a piece of plywood, and it goes for like 10 million. Like,
yeah.
and I just like, I take it, but darn, like, can I get 10 million on the other video so people can see what I'm really over here doing? Like, you know, if I got 10 million on some of the actual builds, then I might actually be, you know, known for something other than, you know, a screw going in, sitting there watching everybody argue in the comments whether or not I should have pre-drilled before I put the screw in or not.
But that doesn't, like me, I was just excited to introduce somebody to the community, because it's like, it's a loving community. I have no complaints. I met a bunch of great people. And if I see somebody that I know is into this or a like-minded person, it's like, nah, come on, let's go. I got a place for you where you can meet people that are just like you, and you can learn from them. They can learn from you, and we just have fun together.
And look, Mark, he may not have the followers, but I guarantee you his ratio is higher than mine as far as the people who actually interact with them or whatnot. Like every time, like me and Mark have been to a couple of shows together since we first went, and every time we go, I swear Mark has the juice. It's just like people come up to me and say, "Hey, are you Mark?" No, I'm not Mark. That's the orange guy, the guy with all the orange.
I was gonna say, you know who Mark is.
And then this is like, you know, he'll go talk to like a brand or somebody or whatever. Come back like, yeah, you know, tell me we got this deal worked out. It's like, man, what are you saying when you go over there? Like, you need to teach me. Like, let me go. Like, and it would always happen. Like, it would always happen. Like, whenever we would like split off and go our different ways, he comes back. But when we're together, it's like nothing happens. I'm like, man, I'm sitting here watching him,
trying to study,
trying to figure it out, trying to learn the game. And it's like he comes back like, yeah, so you know, we got this deal worked out. I was like,
so what I've noticed that Mark is really great at is branding. You have created a whole thing. You have a style. You have a signature look. You know what I mean? Like you're a package. I love that. Like when I met him, it was at like last year's Workbench Con. I didn't know Mark before that. I literally I think I might have just started following you, but I was walking by. I saw the orange hat. It drew me in, and I literally walked up to him. You're really good at branding. That's like the first thing I said to you. I was just like, you're really good at branding.
You won't see me at like an event like that without a orange hat on, something orange. I always got Mark the Builder on. It's like, I'm passionate about it. I love it. I have nothing else to be like. Okay, so I played basketball in college, and I guess I was looking for something else to do. And then once I found this, it was like, all right, let's do it. And then when I do it, I'm gonna put it all into it. Like this gets my extra play money. It helps make me play money. So it's like I'm able to buy stupid stuff that I know if this was my full-time job, I would not have gotten.
Yep.
Like who's gonna spend? I spent up for my floor. I think I spent like $4,000 on material. I'm like, nobody else would sit there and do an epoxy floor that much for your play area, I guess you call it.
I'm surprised that wasn't sponsored by Total Boat if you've got this magic.
This is not,
you gotta work it. You gotta make those moves.
I actually do know the Total Boat people. I
Kristen B, I got her cell phone number.
This was a lot of epoxy. I think I used.
They would have eaten that project up, Mark. I'm just saying for future stuff.
Yeah, I think I used 20 gallons of epoxy on this.
That's amazing. They're going to be at Workbench Con, just saying.
Like,
Oh no,
I wanted to do some
yeah.
epoxy projects, but I'd be like, man, whew, that stuff costs a lot. I gotta get the right customer before I go buy it.
Well, that's the thing, because even if you get it free for an ad or whatever, you still have to charge appropriately, like you bought that, because you might have gotten it free this one time. There's no guarantee you're going to get it free the next time. So you need to make sure that you're charging for that product too. Yeah, there's a lot of components. I don't, like, granted, I do have Total Boats. This was given to me free by Total Boat, so thank you, Total Boat. I still haven't used it though. I've had it here for 3 months just sitting there because I don't dabble in epoxy too much. I have used the Wood Honey. It's awesome. But I do want to start playing with it a little bit. I don't want to get like crazy into it, but what you did there on that floor, that's really cool. And it's going to like just video so well for you. It's just the whole thing I can see. Cause I know like your past videos, Mark, you had a lot of like the garage door opening and you were like panning and stuff. Now you can start like on your floor and pan up. Like you've got all these different video opportunities now. It's very,
and if you, everything
ready.
is color coordinated, orange everywhere. So do you get brand deals for like some of the stuff that you do?
I get a lot of free products. Like I just got 2 rigid tools for free. I got my Onefinity for free. Like I'm really good at working with brands. So I've really learned over the years how to approach people. And I'm very big on giving. Like I know a lot of people aren't like, don't take the free product. We want to get paid. I get that for a lot of people, but I'm a small business. I work out of a very tiny 1-car garage and I've got a family. So like if I'm going to be spending extra money, I can't be buying tools. So I'm really good at giving back when people give me free product. So, and my engagement rate is really high. So like I may not have 80,000 followers, right? But I've got 11,000 followers and a lot of them really like to chat and comment and goof around with me. So that's what helps you with the marketing deal. It's just like your engagement is what people want to see because
I agree.
They want to
that
know.
Helped me.
Yeah, they want to know that people are going to want to buy what you're using or they're curious and they want to try it out. So I've gotten really good at just showing my process and that's what helps me, like talking about the products I use and why I chose those products.
Do you guys have an Amazon store set up?
Yes. I just don't use it well enough.
I didn't realize, like, because a lot of people follow me and watch me, but won't like necessarily comment on every single thing or whatever. I didn't realize how many people were actually like listening and like taking until I set up my Amazon store and I started seeing like all of these numbers come in on like, oh, people are actually like going in and like
checking it out
off my link or whatever. It's like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's like, oh, I was very surprised.
That's a goal of mine.
Yeah.
For like the second half of the year is to use my affiliate links and actually use them and paste them in places because I'm terrible at that.
Most people don't realize that they don't have to buy what's on your store. If they click on your link and then they stayed on the link and say they went somewhere else and went shopping or whatever, all of that counts.
Okay. I
And
know that.
And the random stuff gets more percentage earned income than say some of the specifics like high cost stuff or whatever. Like if they're like shopping for like their shampoos and whatever else or doing whatever like their daily stuff, that stuff gets more percentage back than like if you look at your agreement when you signed up for the store, they'll tell you like which items get the higher and lower percentages.
Yeah, there's like a whole chart.
Yeah, whole chart, like different percentages or whatever. And I mean, over time, if you build the right audience, it very well could be, another source of income. Like my thing is like I don't make a lot off of it. I don't make a lot off any one particular thing. But I feel like if I use my platform well enough, I can get the $100 from Instagram, $20-$30 from Amazon, maybe paid partnership here, maybe a tool sponsorship here or whatever. All of that in my mind, it adds up like a lot because at the end of the day, when say business got slow or whatever, I had a paid partnership check come in or something like that. It's just like, oh shoot, that's right on time because I have not been doing anything. So
no, I get that. How are you with it, Mark? Like, what kind of brand deals are you going after, or are you curious about?
Um, I typically go after the tools that I can see myself using.
Oh, yes.
I am very particular about some deals that I take because I get a lot of them that I'm just like, no, it doesn't go with my brand. And something that you might see, I have a hashtag where it's hashtag Mark the Builder approved. And I able to, oh shoot.
Alexa's getting feisty on you?
No, I have a time light. I don't have just a light switch. I have a time light to kind of monitor how long I stay in here. Because I can lose a day in here and forget.
That's
but
smart.
back to what I was saying, it's more of which brands will look good with me in the sense of what I like. Like, so for instance, Wall Control, they had the orange and they're just nice people, first of all.
Yeah.
And then even where I could have went with Pony, or I could have went with Bessie. I went with Pony as for clamps because they're orange. It goes better with my brand.
Yep. No, it's a lot. There's a lot to think about when you're building a brand like that.
And there's certain things that people are like, oh, you can get this for free if you do a video for me. Sometimes I'd rather just pay. And then like you say, the total bolt is over there sitting there. I hate when a company gives you something and then they want to sit there and hound you. Oh, did you make any content? Did you make any content? Like, I'm not going to forget about you. It's
they
a
haven't
business
asked
here.
me just once, not at all, not
and
zero
I love
times.
those
I love
companies
that.
where
Yes,
it's like, it
they
makes
trust
you
me. They know.
want to. That makes you want to produce some content versus the every week follow up. I'm like, oh man, come on. It's a little extra.
No, that's true. I say no to a lot of things too. I'm sure Nolan does as well with your, Do you have a lot of people reaching out to you for stuff that you wouldn't use?
I've had a few, not as much as you would think. I'm not gonna name anybody, but
no, sorry.
Yeah, it's just I've had a few. And it's not that I wouldn't use them. It may be a similar product to somebody else I've already made an agreement with, so I won't, like cross that or whatever just for a little extra money or whatever. Like the biggest thing about what we're doing is we're providing a service to brands, and basically they are able to put their product in front of an exact audience that they want to use their products for a cheaper price than them buying commercial space on a TV show or
billboards,
television network or whatever.
Oh no, we offer an amazing service.
But one of the things that we have to keep in mind is when we're offering these services is keeping trust and integrity in what we're doing. If we ever lose trust and integrity, you bet your dollar that it's going to become harder for you to connect with these deals, and they're going to be a lot more resistant on just picking anybody type of deal. So it could become more stringent if we start messing it up for ourselves, basically. So I try not to cross do anything. Like if this person, I have a deal with them, and then somebody else does the exact same thing and do a deal with them, it's like I feel like it's just
I think we should dive into that a little more at Workbench Con. I think Workbench Con is the perfect platform to kind of, I wouldn't say set some ground rules in a sense of, like you say, for you, for instance, you said you would do it just for the product. But then there's other people who are making a living out of it. And it's like, oh, we're just going to go to the person that would do it for the product versus a person who is making a business plan out of this and was like, no, you're going to give me the product and you're going to pay me versus just the product. And it's like, even for myself, sometimes I don't know what to charge. Sometimes I overcharge, sometimes I undercharge. It's a sticky situation when you don't know.
Oh, right. Yes, how to price properly and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, for instance, like myself, I have 12,000 followers, but I average 1,000 views on my story. That's a lot.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge.
You know, so I have a lot of engagement with my 12,000 followers versus someone who has 100 who gets the same amount of story views as I do.
Mm-hmm.
Just to share, I run Sabretooth Power Carving. They have 168,000 followers. The max I've ever seen their stories at is 1,000. So the average is around 600, and that's a very active account. So just comparing to that to your 12,000, that just shows your level of engagement. Like, because you can have a giant account and you know the engagement level is not there. So what you're doing is huge. Like that's why I said, like, you do what you're doing really well.
So yeah, that's one thing I want to try to leverage a little more. I told this to Nolan last year. If you know me, you love my personality. But if you just follow me on social media, you won't know that I have a personality.
Nope,
and
you feel like you're generic on social media?
Yes. Yeah.
No, he's not generic. He gets on social media
down.
And he turns his volume on his voice down. He starts whispering. Like,
yeah, but if you know me, you know that I'm just like a Mark the Builder. I'm loud and the attention is like, I'm like the center of attention most of the time. But when I go on social media, I'm just like, Mark, no. And it's part of the reason is trying to decipher how my delivery and just figure that part out. I think once I get that, I'll be okay.
Do you feel like you're different, Nola, now? I'm kind of curious. Like on your social media.
He's
than
the opposite.
You are in real life?
I'm the opposite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Opposite.
On social media, I talk all day. Again, in real life, I might not say a word to you. And it's nothing against you. I'm just quiet by nature or whatever.
And that's because I could work a room in real life.
And I can watch a room.
Mark, same. But I can be both. I can just be chilling in a corner and happy, but I do love working a room when it's the right room.
But
like,
that was the thing. That was the one thing I loved about Workbench Con. I could talk to anybody in that room and not put them to sleep.
Yeah. Because they're all interested.
They're all interested.
Well, that's what, it's so magical, right?
I come home and it's like, I don't care who it is. 5 minutes after I start talking about anything that I've been doing that day, it's like, I'm like, all right. Just
I'll leave you alone.
Yeah. That's another thing. Another thing that Mark is great at, like as far as branding and making deals with brands, is he's really good at his presentations when he pitches his ideas to them. Like he puts together like a full scale, elaborate, like he's got some computer skills. Like
nice.
Man, like I'd be looking at him, it's like, dang, all right, I gotta go back to the drawing board.
But that kind of comes from what I do for a living. I had to work on elevator pitches. Like you get in the elevator with a director, you got to kind of sell yourself in that realm. And I'm like, okay, I could sell my computer skills. Cool. Now I could just sell who I am. I'm selling Mark the Builder.
That's probably even easier.
Man, it's so much easier than selling something that I don't believe in.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So,
but when you're making those branding materials, that's because you are asking for money. You're not just asking for a free tool. You're asking for a whole thing, right? Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I love that. I love when you're taking time and you're building a whole presentation. And then plus, once you have that template, now you have it and now you can use it and modify it for each thing you could do. So that's a smart move to just spend time and just get that creative for yourself so you have it ready to go when you're ready to make that deal, especially before you go to an event like Workbench, because you're not going to give it to them that day, but you're going to follow up with it maybe like
I have a whole follow-up system as to my initial time I meet you. But part of it is because I have a friend and she's like a huge influencer, like made multi-million dollars in a year.
Wow. Okay.
And I kind of seen her blueprint. She's more in the fashion side of things. So I'm trying to do a little bit of what she does in the woodworking realm while still being able to make money off of commission projects. And I even tell my clients, the project's going to take a little longer because I'm recording, because I'm doing certain things, and it's not. And most of my clients truly support it and love that fact that they can go on my social media page and see the status of their project and be like, oh, okay, this is where he's at with this.
Yeah, I get requested if somebody orders something, they're like, you're going to make a video of you making that, right? I'm like, of course. I mean, that's what I do. Like, I film myself making it now. Like,
I love that part of it. Whereas though my customers, say if I do a built-in, they'll have guests over and all that. And they'll be like, oh yeah, oh, you just got built-in. Yes. Mark the builder made it. Oh, you want to watch him make it? And you can show them a 15, 20 minute, you could show them clips of it or a reel that I made of making your project. It's cool. And then it's also like it's just my audience like it. Just leave it at that.
No,
My audience like it.
It also creates content for you. So when you're getting these jobs, like that's everything.
Yeah.
Like we're sitting here chatting and you've got a commercial playing in your background for yourself. Just so you know, like you've got marketing to a T back there. We got Mark the Builder commercials going on back there. Like it's well thought out. I love it. Nolan, so I'm kind of curious, for when you started, what made you go to what you're making now? What brought you into the cabinetry world? Like, what enticed you? I'm really curious about that.
Family.
Okay.
When you run a business and you're actually trying to support your family, how much money you make actually makes a difference. And for me, like I really enjoy making tables and being able to make the table, drop it off, and walk away from it. But at the end of the day, the market that I am, the market research that I've done, is not as consumable as cabinetry is. Like I'll do a table for somebody and they're like, hey, do you do built-in benches? Sure do.
Yep.
And I did one built-in bench, and the first time I did one, I said, I am never doing that again. And before I could leave the person's house, the neighbor was like, hey, can you build me one? I was like, yeah, but I can't give you the price I gave her. Because I lost on that one or whatever, because it was like one of the first times I did it. I didn't calculate in how many times I would be driving to the house, the gas and the travel time and all that stuff. It was just like, so I was just like, hey, yeah, I can do it, but it's going to be a different price for you. And she was like, I was like, well, all right, well, here's the price. And she was like, all right, cool. When can we start? I was like, all right, I'll put you on my schedule or whatever. And from then, it was just like, man, cabinetry just started taking off. Because really, cabinetry kind of started off as just kind of like filling in the gaps for tables. When people were like, hey, can you build that? I'm like, yeah, I can build that. And now it's to the point where I have more equipment readily available to produce cabinetry than I do tables. Technically, I can produce cabinets faster than tables right now, and the profit margins on cabinetry are way higher than it is on table. So the only way I would even match those type of profit margins is if I was doing conference room tables, which are very far and few in between in my area. Like I'm not near a major city.
So you'd have to be somewhere,
Right. The closest major city I'm near is Washington, D.C., which is like 3.5 hours away from me. So, and I don't mind doing that, but even with me like tagging Washington, D.C. like in my post and trying to market up there, it's still, you would have to have a connect for somebody to just be like, yeah, we want you to do it type of deal. And, go out of their way type deal. And right now I just don't have that connection yet. Not saying it couldn't happen. If all of a sudden somebody says, hey, I want conference room tables, I'll probably leave cabinetry.
If you're in the DC area, man, and you're watching this, make sure you get a conference table from Nolan.
Yep. So it's just like, but I mean, I do have plans to say draw up some business or some marketing around conference tables. So it's just a matter of time, and I have to be able to basically work on that after hours on versus, trying to squeeze it into my schedule. I basically have to go make a conference table on my own dime after hours and then take that conference table and create video around it, content around it, and then say my idea was to like create a charity event around it, say like a raffle giveaway or some type of event around it to where, hey, I got the publicity out of the situation and got my name out there to do, say, this is what I can do type of deal. Because that's the same model that I started out with when I first started woodworking. It was tables. Was I built 2 or 3 tables and built my website around that, and then showed people, hey, this is what I can do. This is what I can do type of deal.
Smart.
And it just gradually, slowly picked up or whatever. So it's like, that's another thing about business. Like everybody will see you as, oh man, he's successful. He's doing this, man. He just came out of nowhere. Now, most times you see somebody's success, they've been working at that thing for a long time. That idea started 5 years ago. Like, and it's like, people will see, the equipment or the shop or whatever. It's like, go back early in my Instagram feed and see how small of a space I was just working in, and you can see
it was
like,
a pleasure to watch you grow, by the way. I did it a
Oh,
little
I
while ago
think
today.
watching things grow like that is amazing. Oh man.
So yeah, like it's like ideas start one place, and it just really takes you believing in you, and for me, a lot of prayer and belief in God that He's gonna provide that path for me to be able to go, and He's gonna bless me with the desires of my heart as long as I diligently seek Him. So that's what I believe. That's what I do every day.
Love it.
And I patiently wait to see if my requests are going to be answered. And until they are or until they're not, I just keep moving forward and try to stay positive in what I'm doing and build a little bit at a time.
Where's the passion for the conference tables come from? I'm just kind of curious why you like to make those. No, because it's an interesting thing. I have another friend who's in Jersey who really loves making conference tables because you can be very creative with them depending on the company.
Creativity.
Right?
You will get more creative freedom with doing something like that than you ever will with a piece of cabinetry.
That's
or
true.
even a dining room table. It's very very few times you're going to be able. Like I've had maybe two dining room tables that I had free reign on design, and that was way back in the day. I did a floating dining room table where the top looks like it's floating away from the base, so there's a gap in between it where you can't see. You can't see where the supports are at. That was one of the ones I had free reign on design.
What about your poker table? Was that
that was the second one I had free reign on design. Yeah.
That came out. I like that one.
Nice.
That was a good one.
Appreciate it.
Well, that makes sense.
That
So
was a
yeah,
real
you like
good
to
one.
dive in and just create, it sounds like. And that's kind of probably where you're feeling like work is work now because you're not doing that as much.
Right. And it's
Makes
like
sense.
when you get to do stuff like that, you really get to express, the things you have the ability to do. Like I just picked up added metalworking to my business, and like I've always been able to weld because of my previous job or whatever. Just most people just wouldn't know that because I didn't have the tools set up for that yet. But now that I do, like I can do even a lot more in the creative world, because when you have metal, you can build something that looks a lot sleeker and hold a lot more weight versus having to do it out of wood where you have to do, a certain amount of structure to support certain things or whatever. It's just like I got a design right here that I'm really feeling that I'm doing trying to do a table for somebody, but I can't show you guys. So, but I haven't even shown the company yet. But once I show it to them and they like it, I am going to be ecstatic to do it. But we'll see.
Well, before you got on, Mark and I were talking about a bit like community and stuff like, and watching the growth at like Workbench Con and stuff, and we kind of never finished talking about it. And I just want to say, like, this woodworking community is the best, isn't it? Like, it's just amazing the amount, and there's so many little nooks and crannies of it. And I love when you see people who jump out and they're like a part of all different groups and stuff. And I kind of feel like you guys are really good at that, of like finding those little nooks and crannies to get in there. And I just wanted to say, like, I love seeing that. Like, I like seeing people out there socializing and meeting new people and networking. And I noticed, like, the reason I wanted to have you on the show was because I noticed both you guys have an incredible drive. Like, I can see your growth, and I can just see, like, it's just the beginning. And like, that's really why I wanted to have you on here today. So first of all, thank you guys for coming on, because like, I know we don't know each other well. You know what I mean? We're very like-minded. We want to keep going. We want to keep growing. So like, I love when like I said, I met Mark at Workbench Con for the first time. Nolan, I was introduced to you
at Workbench Con.
Well, Workbench Con, and then even before, I was gonna say way before that, from when Lizzie made your sign is how I first found out about you. So like,
back in the day,
House of Timber is kind of like, because I'm a sign maker, so I followed sign makers, and then she made your sign, and I was like, oh wait, who's this? You know, so like when I met you at Workbench Con, I knew who you were before. You know what I mean? Like, Mark was new, but like now he's someone who I'm following, and I'm enjoying watching his growth. And like, from me working at Workbench Con, I'm seeing it more. So like, I love, like, you meet one person, then you meet another person. It keeps growing.
The crazy story about Lizzie making my sign was, I remember back then it was like I was still working my day job. So, and I was aspiring to, be full time and everything or whatever. So she was really good at what she was doing then, but she's like way better now. Like the amount of detail and layers she puts into it now. It's like, she even told me that, she said, you need to let me redo your sign or whatnot. But back then it was just like the story behind it was I didn't necessarily want a sign or need a sign, but I wanted to support another maker.
That's beautiful.
And it was like, she had called me or messaged me and said, hey, something, she felt like she had messed up on something or whatever it was. And I was like, don't worry about it. I really just want to support your business or whatever. And like with the support that our community gave her, she was able to take that and support her own self at the time. And then now crew and her whole family or whatever. She's just like, I mean, like, I still follow her to this day, and like I'm like proud of like the growth she's had. Like, I mean, and the decisions and things she has to make as a single mom and whatnot, is just like she out there and she's still killing it.
No, she's doing great. Her branding, she's learned a way to include her daughter into her, content in a really fun, tasteful way. Like, she's engaging her audience. Come join me on my journey. She does it really smart. Like, I do think she's really good at her marketing and stuff like that too. Like, it's nice seeing that drive. But yeah, like, I've been following her for years, and when I first followed her, it's because I didn't even realize Instagram was a thing when it came to like woodworking and stuff. I was still on Facebook, like, because I've been doing this forever, but I didn't start Instagramming until like 2018. And she's one of the first people I followed, and she was giving a lot of tips, and she was being super helpful. So like, she's someone like Mark, like yourself and stuff, like, you don't realize how many people are watching your stories. Like, people are glued to her stories. When she posts a story, they're flocking to that story. So she's got that same kind of energy that, we all strive to have, as people want to be engaged with you. So it's cool. But you also learn from that. You learn what she's sharing, and you can learn how to do that in your stories too.
That's just like recently she shared a tidbit about being able to spin off her own brand and sell merch, and spin off of her merch and sell stickers, and then spin off of her. And it's just like she's finding multiple ways to make money or whatever. And it's more than what you think it is. But the one thing that most people don't capitalize on is when you do get that high traffic come in, where your page or your brand starts taking off, you then have momentum. Once you get momentum, you do not let it go. You do not take a break. You do not let off of social media or whatever it is you're gonna do just because you know you need a break or whatever. Because the consistency that you can put forth after you get momentum can be the difference between you getting a brand deal or a deal with somebody or doing this and going from this small level of business to a really high level of business to where not necessarily you got to do more, but all of a sudden what you were doing here can be considered art here. And now the same project you did down here that was you selling for $500 is now worth $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, but that's what that consistency will do for you if you take your momentum and keep your foot on the pedal. Like when I came, all right, put it like this, when I came to Workbench Con in 2022, the beginning, I had 14,000 followers, and me and Mark were talking in the hotel room, and it was like, all right, we're gonna make a consistent effort to do more, post more, and to actually like take this serious and go for it. And from Workbench Con up until now, I posted either once or 3 times a day, every single day.
I saw that you had like a crazy amount of posts.
Like it was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my shot at it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I live with me saying I took my shot.
Yeah.
And thank you, Lord, it's paid off. I mean, like the followers that are up, the branding is up, the engagement is up. So it's just like, and for me, it's just, I remember before I went full time, I said, man, how do these guys, make so much content? Like, it's like, man, if I was full time, I could do that all day long. Now I went full time and I wasn't doing that all day long. I was like,
yeah,
all right.
I make a lot less content. Well, I mean, I still post every day, but I'm squeezing that content. You know what I mean? Like I'm learning how to film differently and make it more content of what I do, because I'm not carving as much as I used to, or painting or creating as much as I used to, because I'm doing a lot of social network working. So like I'm working for brands. So like I'm full time, but I still have a computer job too. So when I actually get stuff that's filmable, I have to really make it worth it.
Yeah.
So there's ways of
And
balancing.
for me now, it's like it's more fluent now. I've gotten used to where my camera mount is, where my Wobie jig is. It's like, all right, I'm gonna get this. This will be a good shot. This will be a good shot. This will be a good shot. But for me, I am starting to change up how I film and how I create content. I am going to be doing more YouTube and going and taking my shot at that next.
Yep.
And
No, are you
Instagram,
monetized on YouTube?
no, nope. I got the followers, don't have the watch hours. I'm like 2,000 hours away from the watch hours or whatever. So I'm like halfway there or whatever. So, but here recently things have picked up. Even some of my old videos are starting to catch traction. So I know that happened to you. Like you had one of your old videos, all of a sudden, like, boom.
That one video got me monetized.
That's awesome.
So it's just like that. Like I know that it could be a long shot and a long ball game or whatever with YouTube or whatever, but Instagram has already proven to me that if you put in the work and stay consistent, the possibilities are there. Nothing's guaranteed, that just is what it is. But the thing is I'm filming what I do every day, so I really ain't losing nothing by doing it or whatnot. So
I agree with you. I want to focus a little more on YouTube this year, especially with them starting to pay for their shorts, and I'm already monetized for the regular videos. So I just need to start consistently posting to keep that little extra income coming. It's not much, but it's something.
I'm
Right.
also in the same boat where I really want to focus on YouTube. I really want to tell stories like I used to. Like you can't do that on Instagram. People don't want to watch a real story. I mean, I still do
Yeah.
post minute-long videos because I'm a rebel, but you know, like people don't want that whole story. I love to show it, you know, but people drift off 15 seconds into a video.
Hmm.
I agree, but I know for me, it happens to me also. I don't watch past a certain amount of time if it's not truly interesting.
Engaging,
I'm like, all right,
yes.
cool, next. Yeah. It's. But I love learning things on YouTube. I just go there and learn something. The school of YouTube taught me so much.
Mm-hmm. No, it does.
Yeah,
'Cause-
YouTube University.
Well, I'm going to head out because it's getting late, but I want to tell you guys, we're going to have an amazing class on YouTube with John from Lincoln Street and then Cam from Blacktail. I don't know if you know any of them, but they, you know, Cam's got like 3.5 million followers on YouTube, and John is rapidly still growing his. He's at like 150 or 160,000 followers on there. And they're going to kind of just break down a little bit of what they're doing. So that's definitely a class you're going to want to go to when you're there.
Yeah.
Learn from them because
I'm gonna go to more classes this year at Workbench Con.
it's
I
worth
used to
it.
just
The talking is fun, but
yeah, I used to just sit down, hang out, and just hey. But now, yeah, I'm gonna go to more classes this year.
look, like when you're so business focused, it's a really good place to get those. I mean, not all of them are worth it, obviously. Some you might want to just go to see something cool or whatever, but there's certain hot topics, and I think that's like one of the key classes. I know we're gonna put them in a much bigger room than we had John in last time, and so it's gonna be cool. And then the video class is gonna be pretty awesome.
Well, look forward to seeing you guys in March, right? Yeah, March.
Yeah, it's coming up quick.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, time is flying.
It is.
Gosh.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys both for taking the time to come out, and it was nice like getting to know you a little bit more. And good night. I'm gonna have this released on Monday because I'm feeling motivated.
All right.
All right. Thanks for being the first episode of season 2. Night.
Hey, season 2.
Season 2.
Season 2.
Another huge thank you for both Mark and Nolan for coming out and joining me. It was really great just getting to know them a bit more and continue to grow that relationship. I just love when I see motivated people just working towards a goal. So it was great sitting down and chatting with them. The next episode will be out in a few weeks. I'm not sure yet the exact date, but again, I'm just going to kind of roll these out when I can and just have fun with it. So I hope you enjoyed listening and look forward to you listening to the next one. Have a good day.